The truth was simple, really. I did not want to go into the second half of my life being divorced, an empty nester, living a lifestyle that I absolutely despised. No more, no less. All right, so in this video, I want to share with y'all why I chose first alternative living and then ultimately mobile dwelling. Because when I started this lifestyle, it was not van life, it was simply car dwelling, pretty much across the board from what I had seen on YouTube. And like some people or most people, it was a full thought out decision for me. Now, going back to 2013, I was divorced, but I was living with my ex husband and I was still in cosmetology school. And I love HGTV. So in 2013, they had a lot of content about um, tiny homes. And I love that. I love the size of it. I loved it. And then they had the tiny mobile homes. So it was the couples who loved the tiny living, but they also wanted to be nomadic. Once I saw the tiny mobile homes, I was like, okay, I like that. And I think I saw it was a guy, he had been in prison and he got out and he had a truck, like a pickup truck, and he built his home on the back of the pickup truck. And I think he said he had like 87 square feet or something. And it was just dope. I loved it. I loved it. So then fast forward to the end of 2016 when I just uprooted my life, my business. I sublet my apartment, sold everything, gave away what didn't sell, donated what I didn't just give away to people I knew and sell. And I packed up my little 97 Honda Accord and drove from Hopkins, Minnesota to Phoenix, Arizona. Once I landed in Phoenix, I said, okay, for one, I'm not going to get an apartment. I'm not going back into that lifestyle. I hated the conventional lifestyle. And I was not about to spend the second half of my life in that lifestyle just because society says this is how you're supposed to live. And I definitely knew I wasn't going to buy a house. So I was like, okay, what are my options? And I created the options for myself that I was willing to give a shot. And one of them was renting a room in someone's house. So I did that. And that was great for me because before I did leave Minnesota, it was my first time living in an apartment completely by myself, completely on my own. And I was terrified. When I tell y'all I was terrified, I was terrified. So renting a room in someone else's house, it really, really worked for me because I wasn't quite ready to just be by myself again. So I signed a 6-month lease doing that. And then on YouTube, I started discovering car dwelling. At the time, it was just a lot of younger women in their 20s that were getting out of their apartment, moving into their cars from what they were saying on YouTube so that they can pay off their student loan. As I'm seeing that, I'm like, okay, I can do that. It appealed to me in a major way because, again, I was already very much attracted to the tiny mobile home. My lease came up from renting that room in September of 2017. And I was like, I'm side eyeing my little Honda. And I decided to move into my Honda. I renamed it Hotel Honda. And pretty much it was downhill from there. And when I say downhill, I mean like smooth sailing downhill. First night I slept in Hotel Honda, it was just in a strip mall parking lot. I didn't have any tinting on my windows or anything like that. I did end up later doing that just on my own. For the most part, because that AZ Sun is no joke, baby. And then also for privacy, obviously. For me, deciding to become a mobile dweller was more about my peace as far as living in something small and something mobile, my financial stability. Because at the time in 2017, I also made the decision to, I'm really going to make an effort to figure out how to be a business owner, not just self employed, not just find myself a job. And I said, during this time, however long it takes for me to figure it out, my income is going to be very inconsistent. This will give me the freedom to figure out how to actually become a business owner, how to create a company, not having the stress, the worries of having to have a job that pays a certain amount so that I can afford at the very least, my rent. So it was a no brainer. For the first night, I fell in love and I said, okay, I'm all in. It has been a roller coaster for me. I've been homeless since then because Hotel Honda was stolen in 2018 and I was sick at the time. But once I made the decision, my mind was made. So essentially, I've been alternative living since 2017 because once Hotel Honda was stolen and I ended up homeless, I had to rent a room again, which is what I did. And then when I came to California, I was still homeless because I hadn't gotten a Hotel Honda. I hadn't got a vehicle again. So I rented a room, co-living, rented a room, saved up because I was determined to get my mobile home back. And that's pretty much been it. So Le Chateau is the third vehicle that I've lived in. And essentially from the time that I got the mansion in September seems to be the month for me. September of 2021, I haven't been homeless since then. So making the decision to be a mobile dweller was about living the second half of my life how I wanted to live it. That, in a nutshell, was it for me. I'm going to live the second half of my life on Shalonda's terms, not on society's terms. Because one thing I'm good at is not giving a damn what people think or say about me. Also, as a young teenager living with my mother, I remember thinking, standing out on the block, thinking to myself, utilities are the biggest setup on the planet. Who are you paying for lights, heat, and gas? It just did not make sense to me. And I knew even then, I'm not going to spend my life living in the same place for all my life. But that's just me for me. I know some people, love that idea. I just never did. I didn't want to do that as an adult. To me, it's boring. And one thing I've never been is boring. So this lifestyle for me, it's not even just about the typical answers you hear, the freedom. For me, it's about living on my own terms, which I've always done. I've always been an outlier. I've always been that anomaly. My lifestyle and how I live, how I wear my hair, how I've always represented Shalonda Elise, it's just always been in the way that I like. So living where and how I live, I love it. And for me, it was a seamless choice. My ex, the only man I dated after my divorce, he said, "What happened to the Shalonda I knew? What do you mean you live in your car?" I said, "She's dead. The Shalonda you knew is dead. She's gone. She's gone. I'm not her anymore. I'm me. I'm me freely and unapologetically. I'm done not fitting in where I'm supposed to fit in according to society because I never fit in. So I'm done even pretending I don't want to fit in. And as a city van dweller, I don't hide it. I never did. Even in the mansion, I'll have my doors open. I will give even the police a tour, which I have several times because I just think my place is so cute. I love it. I love the way I live. And then when people see it, they're like, oh, this is not what I expected. Exactly. Because this was a full, well thought out decision. I'm not homeless. I think for me, the benefit is how easy I'm able to breathe. As a single woman, as a divorced woman, as a woman who absolutely loves companionship, who has never had a mentor, who's been seeking a mentor, who has been falling on her face for 30 years in the effort to actually build a thriving business and have had several failed business attempts. I don't find it easy to be a single woman because I have no desire to work my body to death to be a baller. I have to be a hustler like that. Yes, I'm a hustler with all my femininity, though. I don't want to work my body to death. I just don't have the desire to do that. So for me, the greatest benefit of living this lifestyle is being able to breathe easily. So, you know, I love it. I love my home. I love having reliable transportation. I love the fact that my home goes with me everywhere I go. I love the security, the safety, the smallness of it. Everything about it I love. It's one of the best decisions I've made for myself in my life. That's really it. That is why I chose this lifestyle. I chose this lifestyle because at the end of the day, I wasn't going to spend the second half of my life going into my older years pretending to live a lifestyle that I had despised since my teen years. I wasn't going to continue to fake the funk. I wasn't going to continue pretending to create these pretty apartments and furnished beautifully and live this life that I absolutely despised. And I genuinely despised it. I despised every part about how I was living my life. I did not like anything about it. I didn't like, I don't care how cute my apartments were and how cute the furniture was and how spacious it was. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. And that's why I abruptly woke up on a Thursday morning and said, I got to get out of here. I have to get out of here. And that's why I left all my clients, my books filled out a month and a half, because at the time I felt like if I stay here, I will not live to see 43 years of age. And I genuinely felt that in my heart. And I had to go. I despised being in Minnesota, everything about it. I despised living in apartments. I felt trapped in those walls. I hated everything about it. I hated it. So that's why I chose alternative living and then ultimately mobile dwelling. And I'm in it for the long haul. My goal is to buy land. My goal is to build on that land, build things that will produce income for the long term that I can put into my trust for my great grandkids. I'm an alternative mobile dweller for the rest of my days. And once I get to the age to where I can no longer be in a low roof van, I will then get a van that I can stand up in and make sure it's easy for me to walk into it and things like that. But for me, this is how I will live out the rest of my days. I absolutely love it. And if it's not going to be in a vehicle full time, it'll be in a tiny little yurt or something like that on the land that I own. There's nothing about it that I don't like. Not one thing. If there's something you want to challenge and ask, well, what about this? Do you not like that? Leave it in the comments and I will happily answer you there. But for me, as far as me just thinking about everything and having lived this lifestyle for many, many years, there's nothing about it that I don't like, especially now being in this van, in this minivan. I can't think of one thing that I don't like. That's it. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. The channel is growing and I love it. I love all of you guys' kind and thoughtful comments. I love that you guys are engaged. I appreciate you immensely. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Those who are subscribed, my new subscribers, bienvenue, bienvenue chez moi. Merci, merci beaucoup. J'apprécie toi. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And feel free to watch any more scrolls, watch any more shorts, scroll through my shorts, watch any more videos. If you feel like you need to get a little more warmed up to your girl before you subscribe, feel free to do that. I appreciate you guys. And remember, your life does not have to resemble anybody else's to be fulfilling for you. How you live does not have to resemble how society says this is how you should live in order for it to be fulfilling for you. You pave your own way, because at the end of the day, you have to be happy with you. You have to wake up and love the person that you are and the decisions that you have made for you. You are the only one that has to head on deal with the consequences of your actions, of your decisions. So be free to be you. If you need an invitation, a sign, this is it. Be free to be you. The you that you are holding back, that's the you that the world needs. That's the you that we are all waiting to embrace, waiting to learn from, waiting to see what you have to offer. Not just the world, but to offer yourself. The most fulfilling thing you can do for yourself and those who love you is to simply be you authentically. So thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you on the other side of subscribe and in the comments. Peace, y'all.